So, aloha everyone, welcome. Today's class is going to give us the opportunity to explore our backs in a way that should help us massage away tension and awaken strength. Byproduct of this class will be a lot of strength in the upper body, and we'll get to explore that in my favorite approach to chaturanga at the very end, if you're feeling up for it. If you've got 2 blocks, they could be handy, so grab them if you've got them. We're not doing much kneeling, but sometimes having a blanket for that is awesome. And I'm also excited about this week's playlist. So if you're feeling lazy and you don't want to get the music, like, go for it, because I think it's worth it. Having said all that, we will begin on our bellies. So take a quarter turn over to your right and your left. Just kidding, your left. And slowly make your way onto your belly. And if you did it in the right direction, the right side of your body should be closest to me. Stack the hands, elbows wide, forehead to hands. And then start to breathe. Start to soften. Hi Laura, I'm so excited that you're here live. What a treat. Welcome, welcome. And hi Tammy, it's been a while. How exciting. Hey Artie. And give yourself the opportunity to release the rest of your day, the rest of your weekend, and become really curious in how you're feeling in this very instant. Yoga has been a lifeline for me more than ever this past week, and every time I drop into my practice, I feel like I am giving my body space to heal. And so afford yourself that luxury. The more present you become, the more your body will take care of itself. And just gently breathe over the back of the neck, down lower into the lungs, noticing the space of the body pressing into the mat and also rising away from it. And let your breath be natural and smooth, and imagine breathing all the way down the backs of the legs to the soles of the feet, and the fronts of the legs, noticing the hips, the quads, the shins, the ankles. And if there's anything in you that feels ready to get moving, see if you can let that go. Don't worry, there will be lots of moving. But just giving yourself the space to be completely content, just as you are, not needing to accomplish. Just giving yourself the opportunity to be and to heal. And slowly lengthen the arms forward. They can go slightly out to a Y if that's more comfortable. The elbows can bend, whatever feels good. And then just gently massage the forehead or the third eye on the mat. Little tiny rocks from side to side. It can be helpful to tuck the chin a little bit, bringing the chin in towards the throat, just to access different parts of the forehead. And imagine this motion massaging away the thoughts, the tensions of the mind. If you find a spot that feels really good, you can pause there and make some smaller circles. And try to keep witnessing the breath as you massage away tension. And then come to stillness. Draw a big circle with the arms, reaching them behind you. Interlace the hands at the small of the back. And then just allow the shoulders to relax. So the arms are almost just hanging on the body. Take a couple of breaths into the rib cage. And notice how the rib cage expands to meet the shoulder blades. Some of our movements today, I will allow you to repeat a little more, a little longer, and I'll be quiet if I can be. Just giving you some space to feel and explore. You're all advanced practitioners. And slowly start to lengthen the crown of the head forward. Reach the feet back and allow the spine to lengthen evenly. And as you do this, let the heart and the head gently lift and then set everything back down. And do this a few times with your own breath. And it's up to you. You can either inhale or exhale up. You can try both. And then use the other half of the breath to release down. Allow the knuckles to start to reach back without any strain, but notice how that action naturally occurs as the rib cage lifts. The next time you lift, pause there, release just about halfway so there's not any gripping. And then gently sway from side to side, just a little bit, finding as much ease. Bring a lot of awareness to the spine, especially the spine along the rib cage, the thoracic vertebra. Notice anywhere it feels a little tight or like it's working extra hard, and see if you can soften just a little bit. And release everything down, release the arms down, however is comfortable. We'll just pause for one moment and you can hit play on your playlist. Make sure each track is set to loop so that each track will play again and again until I tell you to go to the next one. Slide the left arm overhead and lift the right leg. Let the right leg cross over the body, starting to peel you onto your back. Hopefully you've got room. I don't, so I'm actually going to move my yoga mat out a little bit. And really milk this movement so you're moving as slowly as possible over that left side of the body, eventually coming onto the back. But take your time here. There's so much to discover. Once you make it to the back, allow the right arm to follow the momentum so it swings down towards the feet and then slowly out to a T. And then reverse that movement like a pendulum swing so it goes exactly back the way it came. And as we roll onto our belly, the hand will do the pulling, which means the shoulder and the upper core is doing the work, and it's actually harder. So notice if you have trouble getting back onto your belly, that's okay, that's normal. And then we'll go the other way. So left leg lifts, slow motion, let it peel you open. Enjoy the massage over the right side and take a few breaths to make it onto the back. Notice how the roll starts to pull on the left arm and eventually allow it to swing down and out weightlessly. And then it reverses direction. So it goes down and in, and that initiates the pulling back onto the belly. Pause on the belly as long as you'd like, and we're going to take our time with this. You guys are all experts. Gosh, I can see it. This has been my favorite roll lately. Whenever you're ready, go to the first side so the right leg crosses over, slow motion rolling, and then let that arm take a nice pendulum swing as weightlessly as possible. And then the arm goes back the way it came. So you don't want any strain in the shoulder as you do that. So often you need to do a little less, or I should say I need to do a little less. Wow. Beautiful weightless moving, everybody. Make sure you can feel your breath as you explore. And we're going to be doing a lot with the shoulders. And so what I've learned about the shoulders is often I need to dial it back, right? So you almost don't want to feel your shoulder. Let this be an awakening of the core with as minimal effort from the shoulders as possible. You want to save them so you can use them throughout the whole class. This is the best rolling you've ever done. Yeah. Take one more to each side. And once you make it back to your belly, you can pause. Drag the hands back underneath the shoulders, and as effortlessly as possible, push into the hands to send the hips back to the heels, melting the forehead into Bhaktasana. And then push down into the shins. As you do that, notice how it unweights the hips and the body. Slowly start to roll forward into cat pose with the spine rounded. And then once you make it to cat, pull back with the hands so the heart starts to reach through for cow pose. Lower one forearm at a time. Favor the pinky side of the hand. So imagine you're doing a karate chop, and actually don't imagine it, do it. Do some karate chops with the hands. Ooh, that's fun alternating, Dana. Good idea. So do one hand at a time. Imagine you're giving your yoga mat a massage, and you can increase the speed a little bit, a little shiatsu. And notice any stimulation happening on the pinky side of the hand up into the triceps. Start to circle the shoulders around the elbows, waking up the core, waking up the shoulders. And as we do our shoulder work today, we never want to feel it in our neck. We never even want to feel it in the tops of the shoulders. We really want to feel it in the backs of the arms, the shoulder blades, and the back. So that's where the karate chopping comes in. So keep that karate chop action happening, and then just release the thumb down. Keep the middle three fingers up. And notice how there's still a lot more stimulation through the elbows, through the shoulders, and then eventually the fingertips can come down, but the middle three knuckles all stay up. Okay, favorite action. We're going to be coming back to this a few times in class, so let's practice it now. Start to push into the hands and elbows, and notice how it sends the shoulders back. And then eventually let the elbows lift up. And then we reverse it by pushing into the shins, slowly waving through cat and then cow. And then very slowly push into the hands to lower the forearms back down. But the more you push into the hands, notice how strong and supported the arms and shoulders feel. There shouldn't be any tension in the neck and upper shoulders. Elbows come down, hips reach back towards the heels. And then push down into the shins, waving forward. First cat, and then eventually cow, and then the push with the hands to send the elbows down, and try to do this as effortlessly as possible so there's no gripping, but there is a lot of strength and support. And then eventually the armpits start to lengthen. That's really the lats. The armpit is just the space between our muscles. And then push into the shins, rolling forward. Take a few of these on your own and become really interested in that moment where you push into the hands to reach the elbows down and try to feel as much integration as possible through the sides of the body, almost like the space if you were a flying squirrel where your wings would be. And I shouldn't have said if, because maybe you are a flying squirrel and you're welcome here too. The next time you're in Bhaktasana, let the hips come all the way to the heels so the elbows might drag in a little bit more. Heavy forehead. Breathe and circle the arms behind you to give the shoulders a little break. Lift the hips, grab one wrist underneath the hips, and then put the hips down on top of the arms so the arms are secured. And breathe into the shoulders. Breathe into the back of the heart. Imagine your rib cage getting bigger, and then try to actually feel that happening. Each rib spreading out, the lungs filling, especially the back side. Lift the hips, release the arms, and slowly float back to table. Lift the right hand. We'll do a couple of tiny thread the needles just to remind your spine what that action feels like. And so the right hand lifts and lowers. And then we'll do some weightless thread the needle. So come onto the left fingertips and do the same thing. And start to notice this action all the way down into the legs. And then eventually, the next time you start to spiral open, come all the way up to kneeling, and then come all the way down to the weightless version. Maybe the hand touches, maybe it doesn't even touch. And we'll do a few completely hands-free thread the needles, trying to find it as evenly as possible through each vertebra. Notice if there's an area that feels stiff or a little harder to spiral, and just shine the light of your awareness there. Arti, try going just a little bit slower. Make sure everyone can feel their breath and use it to find a little more support here. One more. And the next time you're coming down towards thread the needle, let the right arm go through. Lower the right shoulder any amount. Support yourself with the left hand and just wag your tail from side to side. As little or as big of movements as feels good. And then slide the left hand back, push into it, and one more weightless, lift all the way up, feel expansive and weightless and free. And then we'll go to the other side. So hands down. Now the left hand lifts, and take a few spirals, just tracing that familiar pathway. Notice how you can push into the right knee as you spiral open and feel the connections from the hip all the way up to the opposite shoulder. And then start to unweight the right hand. And then slowly, the next time you spiral open, push into the right knee to rise up to the high kneel. And then slowly come back down, but keep it weightless. I love this weightless version because I find that I do it a lot more evenly, and I feel a lot more muscular support. I never actually liked thread the needle until I did this. Notice if you can discover something new. Shine a new light through the spine. What's moving, what's not moving? Where do you feel free? Where do you feel stuck? And the next time you come up, pause there for a weightless moment. And then release back down. We'll come all the way through into the traditional version. And the arm slides through. Right hand can do whatever's comfortable for you. And then slowly wag the tail. And notice how that travels up the spine. Visualize the rib cage swaying in space and how that changes, how the rib cage interacts with the shoulder blade and the arm. Be gentle always. And then slide the right hand back. Push into the right hand. Slowly open back up. One more weightless lift off. And then you can release back down to table. And I'm going to turn towards you so you can see this a little bit better. Tuck your toes under. Send the hips back to the heels. Very slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. But try to remember that sense of spiraling open and the arms feeling weightless. Let the arms start to follow, slowly lifting through center. And imagine you're not lifting your arms, but your back is pulling down. And your back pulling down is what unweights the arms and just lets them glide upward any amount that you don't feel tension in this top part that I've talked about. And once you get to your point, the arms will circle open to a T. And let that moment of dropping, feel the shoulders anchor onto the rib cage and feel really supported. Like you could stay here all day and you'd be totally fine, right? And we'll try that a few times. So hands back down to table, hips towards the heels, and at your own pace. Very slow roll up. The sits bones lead the way as the sits bones drop one vertebra at a time, stacks, and then the hands follow. But you know the secret. It's really the back muscles pulling down that lets the hands become weightless. Once you get to the top of your range of motion, allow the arms to open and let this dropping down action help the arms feel more and more supported by the body cavity. Nice. And once you've got the hang of it, you can repeat that on your own. Slow roll up. Even though there's a lot of attention on what the arms are doing, try to feel how the rest of the body is participating. And they're the base of support. And the reason you don't have to do too much in the arms and they can stay relaxed is because all of the other muscles in the body are supporting you. The arms are just kind of like the icing on the cake. Beautiful movement, everybody. And the next time the arms float to a T, pause there and give yourself a big hug with the left arm on top. And anchor the shoulders down. So again, you feel the shoulder blades sliding down the back and wiggle side to side. So you can feel one shoulder blade drawing down, then the other. And let your spine sway. And then similar movement to before, but keep this hug going. Round forward, almost like a rabbit pose. And then slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. And the first few will be bound. We'll keep hugging ourselves as we roll up and let this be a massage, especially for the space between the shoulders. It's really important, I know I've said this before, that you're not feeling any tension building in the neck and the tops of the shoulders. So keep trying to feel where the shoulders connect down into the ribs and into the core. And the next time you roll up, pause there. Turn to face me because it'll make this a little easier. Slide the backs and the hands together, kind of like a knotted prayer, and pull the hands, push the backs of the hands into one another, and feel how that creates space across the collarbones. right? So we're going to have the option for eagle arms, and eagle arms should feel like this experience of creating space and the shoulder blades drawing down and the collarbones opening. And so if you don't feel that way in eagle, keep the bound wrist pose or the hug pose, okay? So take just a couple more breaths to do less, so you're not pushing so much, but see if you can still feel that sense of support and anchoring. And it's a lot more energy happening here and nothing happening here. And that's going to be really important for our class today. And then let the arms sweep open effortlessly and step the left foot forward. So now you've got the option. Give yourself a hug with the left arm on top. So you can do hug, you can do wrists, or you can do eagle arms. And just make sure whatever you're doing feels good. Step the left foot over to the left a little bit just so you have a lot of space here. And very similar movement to how we've been playing. We'll roll down, push into the back knee to slowly roll up. And I've had a lot of soreness in my low back and in my thoracic vertebra, and this has just been like medicine for me. And so see if you can use this exploration to unwind any knots. Make sure, of course, the shoulders feel supported. I did push it too much in the eagle arms, and that's why I'm being so vigilant for you guys. So, yeah, give yourself a hug. That's a great default. And the next time you slowly float up, let the arms unfurl to that big weightless T. And then chicken wings. Lift the right elbow. Drop the left elbow and let the whole right side of the body open. Take a couple of breaths here. And then let the right side of the body shorten to come back to the center. Hands drop inside the foot. Sorry I didn't have this all set up for you. This is a nice opportunity for blocks. If you'd like them, it's worth it. Grab them. They'll be handy later too. Start to kick into the front heel and massage the front heel. So some big circles. Let the hips follow. Make sure there's no pressure in the knee as you do this. So kind of like half splits, but the front knee bends enough that you can circle the weight around. And in our wisdom training, we're learning about how this brings awareness and lubricates the whole posterior chain. So you might notice little extra awareness in the calf and in the hamstrings and even in the muscles that we were massaging in the spine as you play with this heel. And then place the sole of the foot down, unweight the back knee, and kick into the front foot to lift the hips up and back for Parsvottanasana. And then bend the front knee, back knee comes down, and take one moment opening the front of the body. And let's just take a couple of pulses between Parsvottanasana and either just a low lunge, or you can lift the upper body for Anjaneyasana if you want a little more space through the front of the body. And the next time the hands come down, move the blocks out of the way, shift the weight into the right hand, and open the left arm and leg for quarter moon. Yay! That's my favorite moment of class. I hope you enjoyed it. There's more. Every moment is my favorite, actually. Set the upper hand and knee back down. Press back to Bhaktasana. And then we'll go through that on the second side. And I should have had you do this before the first side, but we can go the next track. I know we've been listening to this track for a while. So the second side's going to be a little spunkier. And when you're ready, Push down into the knees. Slow roll up just like we've practiced. So pelvis and then spine and then arms, just like a domino effect, but like really slow and graceful. And then the arms open to that weightless T. Give yourself a big hug. This time the right arm is on top. And take a few rolls, giving yourself a hug. And I find to not get it into my neck and upper shoulders, I have to be a little bit more persistent with my core and my rib cage. It's like, ask that part of you to initiate that movement. Ask it to rise up to support the shoulder girdle. And notice if that changes anything. The next time you roll up, pause and hook the wrist and just explore that sense of creating space through the shoulder, through the collarbone without building any tension. To make sure you're not building tension, you can sway a little bit. Right? So it's like those muscles are engaged, but they're not tense. And then you have the option to explore eagle arms for a moment, but make sure you're not building tension up here. And full disclosure, I feel that I do that sometimes, right? And maybe even right now. So give yourself permission to choose one of the other options. And then we'll step the right foot forward and we'll take our rolls forward and up with whatever arm position feels the most useful to you. Drop into the breath. And try to feel one vertebra at a time. It is actually possible, but it takes the persistence of actually trying to do it. And the next time you roll up, let the arms unfurl, weightless T, and pause there for a moment. And then chicken wings and push down into the left knee, letting the whole left side open and breathe into that space. You can allow the heart to shine upward even as the left side of the body opens. And then allow the left side to shorten. Maybe you can even feel that sense of the obliques pulling down so the rib cage comes back in place. Option for blocks. Kick into the right heel or walk the right foot forward a little bit more if you need some space. So we have a hurdler-like position and then start to roll on the right ankle. And notice as you roll over the right ankle, what happens to the rest of the right leg? Maybe you can see or feel your knee traveling in space, the thigh bone rotating in the hip socket, the whole pelvis following. Make sure you're breathing. You can try going the other way. It's okay if it doesn't feel quite as smooth. And then plant the front foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, kick into the front heel to straighten the front leg, modified Parsvottanasana. And then bend the front knee, drop the back knee, either pulse between those two shapes or take a moment to lift the front of the body or the upper body and then come back into Parsvo. And just take a few pulses like that. Start to notice that experience in the hips, the psoas. You guys look really great. And the next time the knee comes down, Move the blocks out of the way, plant the left hand, and let the right side of the body open into quarter moon. And take a moment to let all the limbs become weightless, just like we've been practicing, by gently reaching out. And then place the back foot down, place the lifted hand down, bring the knee in, press back to Bhaktasana, and then roll forward into table, tuck the toes under, walk the hands into the knees, lift the knees so you're curled in a little ball, and then let the heels start to get heavy. Slowly start to expand through the back of the legs, letting the hips lift, but keep the belly on the thighs, and rock the weight forward and back on the feet. Keep the toes down so you don't have a sense of falling backwards. And as the weight rocks back into the heels, notice what engages through the back of the legs. Notice what's pulling on the sits bones. Make sure there's no sense of pulling in the low back. You can always bend the knees a little extra. And then start to play with extending one leg at a time. You can always bring your hands on blocks if the floor feels a little too far away for this. So sway the hips from side to side, extend one leg at a time, and notice how this changes the experience down into the calf of the straight leg. If that feels good, you can play with bending and extending both legs at the same time. Just make sure that doesn't create any soreness in the back. The next time the knees bend them extra heavy pelvis, root the sits bones down towards the heels, and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, just like we did from kneeling. After the spine stacks, the hands will float as high as is comfortable without creating any tension in the shoulders, and then they'll open to a weightless T. And then drop them down, bend the knees, and you don't have to go all the way down, but let's repeat that 2 more times. So slow stack. Let the arms follow. Find that weightless T. And then heavy arms roll down. Nice fluid spines, everybody. The next time the arms are at T, pause there and turn to face me if you're not already, so that we can see each other. Bend the elbows, and as you do that, feel the shoulder girdle land on the rib cage as if you were putting on like football shoulder pads. And let the arms be really soft and supported, and take a couple sways from side to side, and let the movement come from the rib cage and not the arms. So the rib cage moves and the arms follow. And then release the arms down. If your blocks are to the side of you, you can put them ahead of you so they're out of your way, and start to step one foot out at a time and let the arms swing as you do this. And eventually you'll get to a point where the legs naturally don't really go further, and that will be a good place to stop and keep both feet down, and we'll keep going with the weight shift. And it's kind of like you're drawing a smile with the hands. You'll dip down through the middle and then let the arms hover into that weightless position. Try to do less with the arms and try to feel how the rest of the body is supporting the arms, and the arms and shoulders don't actually have to do any work here. Start to notice where the arms connect into the rib cage and down into the core. It might help to move a little slower and not allow the arms to lift quite so high if you need help feeling where the arms are connecting down into the ribs. Nice job, everybody. Take a couple more. And the next time you're over to the right, pause. Imagine I just said freeze. And see how effortless you can sustain this for a couple of breaths. And then give yourself a big hug with the right arm on top. Shift the weight back into the right heel so there's no pressure in the front of the right knee. And point the left foot off to the side. So kind of like our weightless thread the needle. This foot is barely doing any work. Roll forward. Weight in that heel. Slowly roll up. And as you come up, you've got options. You can keep the arms like this, wrists, or eagle. It's up to you. And start to kick the left foot forward and lean back a little bit. So there's a sense of the body like a teeter-totter. And the right leg is going to stay where it is, but as the left leg moves, the upper body follows. And you don't have to move much, but explore pointing the left leg in different directions and letting the upper body follow. And if it feels a little too rigid, you can start to become more organic with it. But you want the body and the leg to work together. And then this might be a little tight in your space, but I hope that it works for the left foot to step back into Virabhadrasana 1. Yes, okay. And we'll take some of our familiar rolls now. So you'll release forward, front knee stays bent. And now anchor the right heel. Slowly kick into the right heel to extend the right leg. Notice how extending the leg pulls down on the pelvis. Let that send an impulse to stack the spine, slowly coming all the way up, and then bend the knee, Vira 1 with our eagle arms. We're going to repeat this several times. So it starts with Vira 1, and then we wave over the front leg. And then the leg slowly extends, but no pressure in the low back, because as the leg extends, we let that pull our spine up to neutral. And once we get to the top, we bend the knee again. Option, as the right knee bends, you can allow the front of the body to lengthen, but don't think about lifting the elbows. Instead, think about lengthening the whole spine, and the arms just follow. And then you repeat at your own pace. Remember that the leg extends to roll you up, because I really find that my leg likes getting a nice break from having the knee bent the whole time. And then see how smooth you can make this. We'll take one more. And the next time you're slowly rolling up, the arms can start to unfurl as the spine stacks into that weightless T. Take a moment to feel really spacious here. And then chicken wings. And now the left side of the body expands just like we did from kneeling. And take a few pulses, letting the side body shorten and then lengthen. Start to notice how both side bodies work together. So there's a sense of the right side body lengthening as well, even as you lean over to the right. And the next time you come up, shift the weight into the front foot, back toes point, arms free. Start to kick the front leg forward. Either the toes stay down or they can hover. It's up to you. Either coming into dancing Shiva or a standing twist. And then back arms heavy, let it pendulum swing down and forward as the leg kicks back. Release the hands to the blocks that are hopefully close. And then take some sways and Parsvottanasana as effortlessly as possible. No tension anywhere. Bend the front knee if you need to. And then set the back knee down. Move the left hand to the left of the block so you have space. Kick the right leg back and you can open up into quarter moon. Yay! And then set the right knee down, press back into Bhaktasana, melt the forehead. Take a few breaths. And then we'll repeat that on the second side. So we'll start by slowly rolling up to table. Tuck the toes under, bring the hips to the heels, walk the hands in towards the knees, hover the knees, curl up into a little ball, and then slowly let the hips go high as the head goes low. As you're ready, you can roll up one vertebra at a time and then let the arms follow. Doesn't matter how high they go, it's all about how light they feel. And let them open to a T, just landing effortlessly on the rib cage. You could just stay here all day and it would be so easy. And then complete the circle down and start to shift from side to side, letting the arms swing. And remember, it's not about the shoulders, it's about starting to feel where the arms connect into the side bodies. Gorillas don't have shoulder problems. Just imagine you've got like big, heavy gorilla arms. And once you find your stance, let the feet stay down and kick into the back leg to generate the momentum for the arms to become weightless. Don't worry about the arms going high. Instead, try to feel where they connect, where they're supported from. And the next time you go over to the left, pause there for a moment as lightly as possible. Breathe, relax. And then give yourself a big hug with the left arm on top. Send the weight back into the left heel. Get springy in the left leg. And then slowly roll forward. Keep the weight in the heel as you roll up. Just one more time. And the next time you roll up, you've got your options with your arms. So backs of wrists or eagle arms. And then you'll hover the right leg. And you'll start to play with our balancing exercise where the leg tells the upper body where to go. The left leg stays pretty stable. The magic is in the left big toe. If you can keep that left big toe anchored, you can go wherever you want and you're going to be pretty solid. Nice. And then eventually step that right foot back. Walk the left foot forward and wide so you've got a lot of space as you press down into the feet. Bend the front knee, Virabhadrasana 1. Remember, it's not about lifting the shoulders. It's about letting the whole front of the body from the right ankle all the way up, right hip, all the way up the front of the spine open. The arms just follow. And now we release. We drape over the front leg. Slow motion. Kick into the left heel. Left leg slowly lengthens. Notice how that wants to scoop the tailbone under. Let that happen. Stack one vertebra at a time. Once the neck and head come up, bend the knee, front body opens, and we repeat. Move at your own pace. Make sure you're breathing. See if you can feel the body moving as one holistic entity. There's no beginning, no end, no separate muscles, and just a school of fish swimming in the same direction. Beautiful. Nice, Dana. That was a really supportive and deep back bend. And the next time you come up, weightless arms for a moment. Most expansive Virabhadrasana one ever. And then fairy wings. I forgot. I like calling them fairy wings. And then open the right side and close. And at your own pace, I like to exhale as my right side lengthens. It just helps everything stay connected. And then inhale back to center. And the next time you come up, free your arms. Shift the weight into the left leg and start to glide the right foot forward, either on the ground or in the air. It doesn't matter. We'll end in some kind of twist to the right. Take a couple of breaths. Make sure you're light and springy wherever you are. And then reverse, woo, the way you came. Place your hands down to your blocks. Bring them in towards the foot. And wag the tail. Slow motion. Let the spine snake. Breathe across the thoracic vertebra. Notice anything unwinding and feeling freer. And then bend the back knee. Place the back knee down. Place the left hand down to the left of, right hand down to the side of the blocks. And then you can open up into quarter moon on the other side. So the back leg lifts. I'll turn just so you can see it better. Soft and relax. Bend that top elbow. And then set everything down and take a moment in Bhaktasana. Melt the forehead. Sway from side to side. And slowly roll up one vertebra at a time till you're seated on the heels. Feel free to grab a sip of water. You can place your blocks off to the side. I'm going to demo something that we're not getting to right away, but it'll be hard for you to see when you're actually there. So we'll be playing with our tabletop sequence from earlier, but this time we'll have the chance to wave from down dog to up dog. If you enjoyed doing that same thing from Bhaktasana, you can totally keep the knees down and do it like we did in the beginning. And then from up dog, we'll be playing with we'll lower our knees, and that same pushback from the beginning where we push into the hands to send the elbows back. And then we'll get to have a nice big circle, and then we'll push back to the staggered down dog where one forearm's down and one hand is down. So the big thing here is this pushback moment, and that's what we're going to be using for chaturanga after this sequence. So I wanted you to see it so you could really focus your energy there. Let's try it. If it doesn't feel good, do less, modify, make sure the knees are down, make sure nothing is ever building above the neck and shoulders. It should all be in those connections. Oh, let's do this. Let's all tap on our ribs and up the side body. This is where we want to do the work, right? All the muscles that support the base of our shoulders. So you don't want to feel it up here, but you can still tap up here because it feels good. So all of the work is down here. So let's try it. We'll start with one baby wave like before. So from Bhaktasana, push into the shins, gently rolling forward from cat to cow. And then push into the hands, node, and start to bend the elbows to put the elbows down on the ground in the most integrated way possible. And then send the hips back to the heels. Let the elbows eventually lift so the arms are straight again. Option now to hover the knees and slowly extend through the backs of the legs for down dog. If this feels good, push into the feet, slowly start to roll forward just like cat pose, but it's a cat plank. Drop the knees, pull on the mat to reach the spine forward. Okay, here's the big moment. From up dog, start to bend the elbows, push into the hands. As you push into the hands, let that send your sits bones high into the sky as the elbows come down. And let's try that again. So up dog, nice. And then you're in a back bend, right? You stay in the back bend. So as you push into the hands, the hips start to lift, but you're still in a little bit of a back bend. And the elbows come down. Nice. And then from there, let the left hand drag back. Draw a big circle with the left hand. Plant the left hand down. Lift the knees. Push back into this asymmetrical down dog. And then keep pushing into the right hand until both arms are long. And we'll do it again. So from down dog, wave forward. Slow motion. Feel the support on the front of the body rising up as you come into up dog, soft back. Bend the elbows. Push into the elbows to send push into the wrist to send the elbows down. And then circle the right arm back and forward. Plant the right hand. Push into down dog, the left forearms down. And then push into the left hand and feel the strength of that left arm as the elbow reaches up and the arm integrates into the core. Again, you want to feel in all those areas you were tapping below the shoulders on the rib cage. And let's do it again. Wave forward. Now you can do this at your own pace. You can always take a break or hold anything that feels really good. And we push into the hands. This is our chaturanga prep pose, pressing the elbows down, sending the hips high. And now the left arm circles. Asymmetrical down dog. And I love this moment in asymmetrical down dog where you push into the hand to lift the elbow. That's really going to help us with chaturanga. So pay attention to that moment and then wave forward and try it again. Way to go, Mom. I know your shoulder hasn't been feeling well. I'm so amazed you're crushing it. Last one. We'll all meet in down dog. Wag the tail a little bit. And then drop the knees, hips to heels. Slowly roll up so you're seated on your heels. And turn to face me. Give yourself a big hug with the right arm on top. Backs of hands touch. Do a little bit of massaging, letting everything release as I finally demo our chaturanga. It's gonna, hopefully I'll remember to tell you to do the second side, but if it's been a while and I didn't tell you to, just switch sides. So the best way to explore chaturanga, usually people do it from here and gravity is pulling you down. Instead, we're going to do it against gravity. So from our up dog, we'll practice everything we've been doing where we push into the hands, that pushing away action. So we'll actually lower into chaturanga from up dog and then we'll push away into down dog. And this prevents gravity from having you sink into your joints. Sometimes it takes a while for the pathway to become clear. So it's okay if today isn't the day. The seeds are being planted and one day you'll feel it and it will be really exciting. But if today's the day, you'll have to tell me. So I'm going to demo it one more time, and then I'll talk you guys through it. Switch to your second arm if you didn't already do that. So from up dog, knees down for the first round, you'll Bend the elbows, lowering the shoulders halfway, and then you'll push into the hands. This is the most exciting moment, and that will send you back to down dog. If you've got shoulder injuries, if you don't practice chaturanga, you definitely don't have to do this, or you can explore it in a more gentler way, in the way we've been doing it, where the arms spring and you push the elbows down. That's the prep work for this. So play with this if you don't yet want to do the other option. If you're ready to try it, let's start in down dog. And then from down dog, slow wave forward, extra slow. Let's take 3 breaths to come all the way into our up dog, and we'll all lower the knees. And now bend the elbows, squeeze the elbows in, and slowly let the shoulders lower, and then push into the hands to send the hips up and back. And that should feel like really hard and really powerful, and that's what chaturanga should feel like, but not painful. If that felt okay, you can try it again. Option to leave the knees up. I'm going to watch you guys. If you're not sure how that felt, maybe back off a little bit and play with our previous sequence. Laura, it looks a little tight in your neck, and so just be easy on yourself. Don't worry about going quite so far. Nice. Yes, RT, you got it. Beautiful. Feel free to take 1 or 2 more, and we'll all meet on our bellies. Nice, Angeli. And if you're playing along with our music, you can go ahead 2 tracks to the cool down track. We'll have to save the 3rd track for next week. So take a moment on the belly just to notice the heart beating. Notice the warmth in the shoulders. And then bring one arm down to your side. Bring the other hand underneath the shoulder and push into the hand to roll the body on the arm that's down by the side, so you can massage the bicep and the tricep. I like to have my head relaxed on the ground as I do this. If it doesn't feel good, you can have the arm overhead instead, but I really enjoy this massage. And this time is for you, so if there's another area of the body that's craving massage, you can focus on massaging over the hip here or the thigh. And then return to the belly and do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll be making our way onto our back, and there's really no great way to do it. So you can roll off of your mat and scooch back on, or if you've got another idea, you can go for it. And make sure you've got one block nearby. And pause on your back and bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet in. Walk the feet a little wider than the hips so you can drop the thighs in to rest on one another, and just breathe, especially into the back of the body, and notice the space of the lungs. Notice any freedom you've created in your vertebra, or awareness you've created in the space between the rib cage and the shoulder girdle. Walk the feet in, point the knees up, reach the hands towards the heels, and push into the feet. Start to reach the knees forward to lift the pelvis, and gently lift one vertebra at a time, and then release one vertebra at a time back down. And just take a few of these really gentle melting actions, moving just as slowly and fluidly as I watched all of you do throughout class. And if there's a vertebra where you notice a little tension in the spine, pause there and sway the hips from side to side to massage that area. So maybe the hips are barely lifted and it feels really good on the low back. Or maybe the hips are lifted quite high and you're massaging the space behind the heart. Just take a moment to explore that option. And then place the hips down, pause for a moment in stillness, and then press into the feet to lift the hips, and grab your block at the lowest height and place it underneath the sacrum. And it should feel very supportive and not uncomfortable at all. So if this doesn't feel supportive and comfortable, move the block. And if it does, we'll take some time in our restorative bridge pose. And I like to walk my feet wide here and knock my knees in so that my legs don't have to do any work and I can relax completely. And take a moment to allow the arms to slowly snow angel up to T. That movement we practice so many times, that weightless T, only if it feels comfortable and sustainable. And we'll just rest here for a few moments, letting the front of the body open, letting our breath massage our shoulders and our neck. And you can bring all the awareness down to the navel. This pose sends extra energy to the area that's lifted away from the ground, and so you can anchor your focus in that same spot. Just breathing and allowing energy to travel to your navel. You can close the eyes if that feels safe. And then gently point the knees up to the sky so they don't knock in anymore. Push into the feet to curl the pelvis away from the block. Move the block out of the way. And then extra slow motion, melt the spine down, one vertebra at a time. You can extend the legs out and prepare yourself for Shavasana. Pause the music, grab any warm layers. Perhaps place a support beneath the backs of the knees. And we'll rest here for the next 10 minutes. And as you relax Know that you have nourished yourself so deeply, physically, mentally, and energetically. And when you take the time to invest in yourself, the universe rewards you. It showers you with even more nourishment. It's like if you put in $1, the universe wants to give you back 1,000. And so as you rest here, imagine you're just soaking up that reward. You earned it. And this is the opportunity to relax completely and let all of those new pathways that you created physically, mentally, and emotionally, let them sink in, let them take root. You can leave this yoga class different than you came. And so we'll rest and we'll restore and absorb for the next several minutes. And start to notice your breath. And try to stay so relaxed that you can also notice the space between the breaths, especially between the inhale and the exhale. And then observing that space, you can begin to move. And be gentle and enjoy the process of waking up, re-energizing the cells, letting energy start to flow through the body. And eventually make your way up to a comfortable seated position, but you don't need to rush. Think of this as part of the practice, of slowing down and being more conscious. And once you've found a comfortable seated position, we'll continue to focus on the breath. Lately, Babaji has been emphasizing the pause after the inhale. And it really reminds me of the action we were doing in yoga of finding weightlessness, that moment where the arms just hover and they're suspended before they move again or before they swing the other way. And so if you experience that physically in our yoga class, try to remember that sensation as you inhale and feel the possibility of being buoyant and light and suspended for a moment. And then try to keep that awareness as you exhale. It's like you can feel that there's a bigger space containing the exhale. You can feel the exhale without losing the bigger picture. And you inhale naturally and wait for that moment of suspension. And then try to stay attuned to it, stay linked to it as your natural exhale flows. For me, it sort of feels like juggling a couple of things at once, where I can still feel the sense of spaciousness that becomes available in the pause. It's still there as I'm aware of a smaller fleeting thing happening, the exhale. And as we continue to explore the breath in this way, you're welcome to attach the Hamsa mantra, hum to the inhale, sa to the exhale, continuing to find the space and savor it and let it open you to something more expansive. For the last few moments, see if you can release any grip, any control you have over the breath, and find as much relaxed space as possible. Thank you so much for being here. That was my favorite yoga class ever. I'm glad I got to share it with my favorite yogis ever. Have a great week, everybody. Hope to see you soon. Aloha. Take care. Great to see you, Tammy. Angeli, so glad you could make it. Dana, thanks for being here. And Roseanne, sorry I didn't see you today. I wanted to give you a lot of space. Yeah. And Mom, I'm amazed. Oh, I missed my mom. That's okay. I'll text her. Bye, Roseanne.